in Luo. They will call a woman who's walked out of her marriage Wagio Duogo. Like she has gone and come back.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, to shame the woman that you went to get married and then you came back because it was too hot for you. Hey everyone, welcome back to this channel. Today we are in a very nice place. We are at Mawimbi restaurant. This is where I had my birthday. It's a very nice place. So we're just looking at our menu so we can order something to drink or eat. But anyway, my name is Anita, as you all know, and my guest here will introduce herself.
Thank you, Anita. My name is Susan Yabena. Uh, People know me as a gender advocate. I actually do advocate for gender equality and women's empowerment. And I think, in brief, I'm the founder of Gender Inc. It's um, it's a platform that allows people to voice their opinions, talk about gender injustices on human rights, talk about women empowerment, girls empowerment, and I'm also the co-founder of Mobile Gender-Based Violence, popularly known as mgbv. And mgbv literally focuses on bringing it the simplest way for survivors and victims to be able to report cases of gender-based violence through free text messages.
Hmm, very nice, very nice. Okay, Susan, could you tell us what is the idea behind Gender Inc? What is Gender Inc about?
Okay, so like I said, Gender Inc. is basically a platform that people are able to, voice human rights injustices, talk about basically the conversation surrounds gender equality and women's empowerment. We do it mostly through people write, they submit articles. I do submit articles. I have volunteers and other people who just come in, they just send their articles and they get published. But also, we have had sessions like online video sessions talking about different topics still surrounding gender equality and women's empowerment. And yeah, so basically that is it. And the idea behind Gender Inc. was, I realized when I was actually on my undergrad and I was meeting people at the offices, interacting, networking, I came to realize there is so much myth or misconception surrounding what gender equality is all about. So when you mention gender equality, everybody thinks you're talking about women equality, which are two different things. I think hence why we have gender equality and women's empowerment. So anytime you mention gender, people are like, it's for the women. Oh, we don't want to be involved with women issues and stuff like that. Literally everybody, and nobody ever took that time. If it's not in your line of work or your career, sometimes it might be difficult for you to just go and sit down and be like, okay, I want to learn what gender is all about. What do these people do? So yeah, so basically Gender Inc. was just to bring to light, bring conversation, try to demystify all those misconceptions out there, talk about gender, that it involves men, children, refugee persons living with disabilities. Like it encompasses everybody, all persons, all human persons, not necessarily women. So that is actually how Gender Inc. came about. I was just trying to put it out there that, hey, gender is not all about women. Yeah.
And Susan, could you please tell us the kind of issues that you address at Gender Inc?
I address basically anything that touches on human rights violation and gender equality and women empowerment issues. So it's not all about, okay, most of the times people submit articles on women and girls. This is understandable because we can agree that since time immemorial, it is women and girls who have been more disadvantaged. But we've come to realize that as time is changing, we also have our men being vulnerable.
Yeah.
We've had cases of gender-based violence towards men. We've had cases of our young boys being sodomized. So now it takes a different shift. So people talk about all of these kinds of issues. It's not all about just women anymore.
Yeah.
So we deal with vast issues. We talk about gender-based violence. We talk about the rights of person living with disabilities. We talk about refugees. We've talked about IDPs, even in Kenya. So it is really vast. You find a lot of content, and it's not only in Kenya. Actually, we cover Gender Inc. covers Africa, I would say most. So you find articles from different countries, from Southern Africa area, Western, Central, yeah, and Northern. Truly, yeah.
Wow, that is really interesting. Could you tell us in Kenya right now, what is the human rights position in terms of gender in the country right now?
Okay, so this is I don't know how to answer this question because I would say there are two versions. There's the version on paper, and then there's a version reality on the ground.
Yeah.
So on paper, we are actually doing good. We're at least having more, women representatives. We actually have the slot for women representatives.
Yeah.
So we can say like the voices of women are being heard. We have more women coming in, parliamentarians being chosen as ministers. I think we have seen quite a number of time when the president is reshuffling his cabinet, we get to see at least women coming in. So I can say on paper it's good. We have policies, the national gender equality policy. We have literally vast policies that take care of women issues and girls. So I can say we are doing good, also trying to push for the two-third gender rule, the 30% procurement, to make sure that women at least occupy, a third in leadership position, political positions, But then we also have reality on the ground. So now the reality on the ground is still, we find that women and girls are disadvantaged. We find that our children are being trafficked. There are increasing rates of children being prostituted. There's child prostitution, there is child labor.
Yeah.
So all of these things, they are there. We have especially during this COVID-19, there has been a tremendous increase in GBV cases.
Yeah.
Literally, women are out there suffering. Actually, hence the inception of mgbv platform. People are suffering. You meet them out here, you can see bruises, but they're like, no, I fell down the stairs.
Exactly.
Oh, I don't know
They
what
hide it.
happened.
Yeah.
So literally, we have the one on paper, and we can say it's a little bit sad that during COVID, we can see like all the resources, everything is just on COVID. We are buying this, the hospitals, we're equipping the hospitals and everything. But we kind of overlook the secondary effects of COVID. So let's, like the one for gender-based violence, many women are being raped out here.
Yeah.
The issues of police brutality is there. Persons living with disability. Sometimes, I'm walking into like restaurants, even when getting into, public transport, they can't even, get in. At the wheelchair, you find the places of washing hands, the taps, they're a little bit high. In the wheelchair, how are you even going to stretch? And most of the time, you find that they have like a caregiver. Some of them do have caregivers because they can't really support themselves. Okay, so in such cases, they cannot, they cannot observe the social distance thing. You need somebody to help you to move around, to move from here and there. Some of them are being washed, even the elderly people. So these are those kind of things you realize that the secondary effects is deep. So that is why I think there was an uproar, and people are like, at the end of the day, they don't even want to stay at home. Like everything should just be open. It's better they die out of COVID than dying in pain. So yeah, I would say there is so much going on. But then again, there are also positive things that have been happening. I've seen actually organizations coming up, trying to tackle issues of gender-based violence. I've seen the national representing the persons with disability. They've been actually circulating information and everything, trying to make sure, especially the blind, the deaf, because when you look at the first times the president was addressing the nation, you could see he didn't have a translator. Like, the way we are used to, even on news, you see like they have the sign translator.
Yeah.
They didn't have the sign translator. So the first times that the information were being passed, they were missing out a little bit, on the deaf and people. But right now I can see things are improving, and yeah, there's some positive, and then there are some places we need to work on. Yeah.
But now there's also this thing that these rights violations, mostly, we see them affecting women. So how do men come into the equation? And how do we talk about men when it comes to these rights violations?
Okay, men are actually the central part of the whole issue.
Mm-hmm.
As much as maybe we don't want to, recognize it, but men play a critical role.
Yeah.
Two versions of it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
starting with we've actually talked about patriarchy for the longest time.
Exactly.
Patriarchy is basically male domination.
Mm-hmm.
So the male gets to decide. The
Mm-hmm.
man gets to decide when, where, how, everything that is done. They literally dictate maybe the women's life.
Yeah.
So in this case,
Mm-hmm.
I would say they come in as perpetrators. It is men who, beat their women, they batter their women.
Mm-hmm.
It is men who emotionally control their women, emotional violence, their finance. Some of the women, when they get married, you're working, and then it's like, I'll take care of you. I'm going to, do everything. So you just, stop going to work. Just sit at home and look beautiful. Before you realize they're looking beautiful turns into everything else. Like literally, you depend on this guy for everything. You cannot provide for yourself. So basically, you've lost your freedom in whatever way. And then other ladies, you literally work, but you get monitored. Like whenever your salary comes in, it automatically gets taken. Or other people, you find that there is versions of also using children. Though this one cuts across for both women and men, and I could say most cases it's being done by women. So you find like you have children, maybe you have issue with your husband and stuff. It's like you cannot literally leave the marriage because of the children. It's like if you leave, I'll do this to the children.
And then
If
you
leave-
find it's mostly the women that are blamed for a failed marriage.
Yeah, and I think this is also another huge topic that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
I would say like for today, if the marriage is not working, let it go.
Work.
If the love
Work.
is gone, just let it go, because at the end of the day, your mental state, your happiness is key.
It's key.
You're like, you're sleeping in bed next to somebody you don't feel anything for. They're not even your friends anymore. You're there, you're suffering. At the end of the day, okay, you say I'm just staying in here for my children, but how would you, like, what is left in you if
mental
you're
health
drained?
is really important.
You're drained, and your children depend on you
Exactly.
for guidance, you parenting and stuff. So if you're already drained, what are you giving to your children?
And then at the end of the day, also these children, they grow up not knowing exactly what, like, let's say love should be, what it should look like. So we have this skewed idea of how a marriage should be. And they also become broken people, raising broken families.
That one for sure. And I would say, okay, many people, I think when the hashtag of Black Lives Matter came in, people are talking about how in African families, how we handle issues, and I think we need to change. If I remember the last, I think 2 months ago, there was a sad case in Mombasa. This girl had left home with the children, and she went to see the mom because she had literally been having issues with her husband, and she was done. So she went home and she told the mom, you know what, actually I'm just done. Like, it's too much, I can't take it anymore. So the mom said, no, where are you going to? You're married, that is your husband. You need to go back. So she literally forced her daughter to go back to their husband. And I think the girl was like, you know what, I'm done. She just went and drowned herself with the children. So now you sit there and you're asking yourself, we cannot blame, we cannot point fingers. But at the end of the day, I think if somebody comes to you, their marriage is broken, they can't take it any longer, don't force them back to something that causes them pain. Just, sometimes maybe you may not know what to tell them, what to say, because in this particular situation, people are really emotionally vulnerable. So you don't know what to say, how to say it, especially if you're not, you've not done counseling before. So just open your doors to them. Let them just take their time, just let them know that you're there. Even if you're not having the conversation, you don't know what to say, just be there. Let them see that you're there. Okay, if they need anything, they reach out, So I think that is what I can say. It was really a sad situation, and sometimes I think about the mom of this lady, and I'm like, what are you going to say, when you look at the photos of the lady.
Green twist?
Our drinks are here.
Yeah, drinks are here, green twist. More
this is-
healthier.
This is Mawimbi.
Show off. Very
Show
sweet.
off.
Yeah,
Look
we're
at
showing
my
off that.
Yeah,
Very
we're
sweet.
showing it off. All right.
Karibu sana. Alpha food, are you ready?
Yeah, we're still having our small
Oh,
meeting,
so I leave this. Huh?
or we can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
just
can
leave
do-
it here. Yeah, we'll order.
All right.
That was a nice break. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, and I say, when she goes to bed, or when you see the photos of your daughter and the photos of your grandchildren, I don't know how she feels, because it's it's too much to take in. It's too much to take in. But out there, I would just say, if anybody close to you, even if they're not close to you, even if it is your neighbor, you don't know them, you're not friends, but they just knock on your door and they're like, okay, I need help. Do whatever you can. I know there is this trouble, like, okay, in Kenya we believe it's your business, you don't want to get in between, and maybe when they get back together, but it is better just be there for them. If they decide to get back together, at least,
It's well and good.
yeah.
At least, it's really sad that this burden on women to to keep marriages that are not happy. They're not happy. Broken marriages. It's upon them to fix it and do whatever. You kill yourself trying to fix something that is so broken. It's really sad, and the women, they're not happy, and then kids are involved. Kids also, they can see that, they can
Yeah.
see it, and
They pick up a lot.
they pick up a
Children do
lot
pick
and
up a lot.
actually affects them.
It does.
It actually affects them, and it's really actually very sad.
It is.
So what do you think can be the solution to this? How do we encourage more women to stand up for themselves, or just be confident enough to walk out of anything that is not bringing them happiness?
Okay, that is really not an easy thing to do. I would
Yeah.
say, sometimes you can see somebody's in a very abusive relationship or marriage, and you're like, why don't you just walk away?
Yeah.
Why don't you just leave him? But
Yeah.
it's not that
It's
easy,
not easy.
actually.
It's not
It is not
easy.
easy, because
Yeah.
you've invested your time, your
Exactly.
emotions,
Yeah.
your finances, literally every of your being is in it.
Exactly.
So it's like when you're leaving the individual, some part of you is leaving, and it's
Yeah.
not really easy. So
It's not easy.
I think it takes time,
Yeah.
and I would say let us normalize counseling, because I came to realize that most Africans, let me just generalize in that way, we don't appreciate counseling. It's like when you go
Thank you
for counseling,
very
it's like
much.
you have some
Yeah.
mental issues.
Yeah.
But it's not all
This is
about.
a really good point.
Yeah, it's not all about having mental issues. Sometimes you might have difficulty at work or something, and you just need to talk about it. And maybe your environment or your people around you, there's some issues, you might not talk about them. So you go and find counselor. And I actually tell people, you don't go to counseling. It's not like you go to counseling and they say, oh, now you need this, you need this, you need. I have a little bit of background on counseling. When you go there, the first session, at least, they will do a diagnosis. They will get to know what is really, happening to you. I wouldn't say that what is wrong with you, because there is nothing wrong with you. We all have this, we're not always 100% perfect, like working. So you have a session with a counselor, and it's like 45, most of them do 45 minutes. Just spare 45 minutes, go there, let them talk to somebody, let them advise you, at least let them point you. Their work is to guide you, literally, not to make your decision. So they will say, okay, maybe you can try this, or maybe change this particular pattern. They give you, a directive.
Yeah.
And then from there you can see if it you can try and change and see if it works, it doesn't work. But also the issue with counseling in Kenya is that it's really expensive. It's like it is meant for a particular class of people.
Yeah.
So maybe we can also try to tell, our counseling agencies, organization, to a little bit tone it down. Personally, I believe there is no harm to accept that you need help. There's no harm to accept that you're vulnerable. We all are. People are just walking, putting out faces
Is it
here
an
like.
African? Is it like an African thing?
It is an
where
African
guys
thing. It's
don't
like.
think the counseling is not so. They find it so unnatural. Like,
Yeah, because
why would they be sitting and talking to someone about my problems?
we were natural to be heard, coming from a perspective that you people used to live in the forest,
Yeah.
the monkeys, and then you come out. So
You're
it's
required
like
to be hardcore.
literally, it's like literally you should survive anything.
And not express yourself, especially with the men.
Yeah.
You don't want to express yourself
Yeah.
to someone else. You feel awkward, but actually counseling helps.
It does help a lot,
It
a
does.
lot,
It does.
a lot.
Because when both say it's a couples counseling, when both people are willing to just sit down and talk about their issues there with a third party, I think it's really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is nice. The only counseling I've seen that works in Kenya people are like, sometimes you go for this counseling in church, and it all goes down to you are not submissive. You did not do what you're asked to do.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
then
like
again,
it
there's this
puts
thing,
the
you can
blame
only
thing.
submit to someone who loves you.
Yeah.
When the love flows, that submission comes naturally.
Yeah,
Right?
but people do this blame game. Oh, it is her, it is him, it is her, it is him. And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, before you realize, something that was very beautiful turns into,
Yeah,
something
something that
so
is
bitter
so
inside.
ugly.
So
Exactly.